Good morning, friends. Anne here. Got my cup of coffee, got the Word of God, and today's reading is from Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 through 10. We're going to summarize what all these verses say, and then we're going to take apart three different sections that Paul is telling us in this passage. The first one is this. What he is saying with all of these three areas that he's talking about is that wise believers live in the balance. They don't go far to the extreme of one side or far to the extreme of the other side, that we are to live in the balance. He says, first, we are to live in the balance in what we see. It says this in verse 1. Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by some sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path. And be careful not to fall into the same temptation yourself. So here what he's talking about is that we are to live a healthy balance in the middle. Too many times we look out the window and we look at other people's faults and failings and mistakes, and we end up judging them from a place of spiritual pride ourselves. That in the way that we bring them back into the fold, that we actually end up sinning ourselves. That as we're judging them for something, we end up moving in the opposite direction and develop a sense of spiritual pride. What's in the middle is gentleness and humility and bringing them back with a spirit of forgiveness. So we are to live in the balance in where we look, and then number two, what we carry. He says this, share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. But then in verse 5, he also says, for we are each responsible for our own conduct. So we are to live in the balance. We are not to just start taking over others' burdens, nor are we to completely ignore others' burdens, but we are to live in the balance. We are to create healthy relationships with people where we can walk alongside them and help them carry their burdens in a way that doesn't take responsibility for it, but still allows them to assume the consequences of their choices, to be responsible for their own conduct. So wise believers live in the balance where we look what we carry and then finally what we sow. He says this, don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant. You will reap what you sow. Friends, if we sow judgment and criticism, what we will receive is judgment and criticism. We are to walk in the middle way, realizing that we are to sow seeds of humility, seeds of faith, seeds of grace, mercy, and gentleness. Friends, wise believers live in the balance where you look, what you carry, and what you sow. Have a good day.